Welcome to the Shulamite Podcast, an extension of Shulamite Ministries and Shulamite.com, with weekly interviews and teaching with author and speaker Martha Kilpatrick and hosted by John Enslow. This weekly podcast is a way to stay connected to the ministry. So come experience anointed messages, not giving just another method, but a living impartation.
This might be the strangest podcast we've ever done. I have 205 tapes of the month, plus dozens of messages on CDs, and
It's well over 30. You have at least, it's well over 30 CD series, and then you have 21 or 22, maybe even more booklets, and then you have 4 books, and then you have the podcast, and we've been doing it for, I believe we're in the 12th year. I think we're either 11 or 12 years.
But this is a subject that I have never spoken on anywhere, never taught, and so we're going for a ride here.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. There's something missing from Christianity today. A big problem of something missing. I don't know if you've ever heard this sermon by Jonathan Edwards, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. What we don't have now is the fear of God. We have focused on grace to the point that it's obliterated the fear of God. And I sent my sons out into the world when they went to college and so forth with this verse. Humility and the fear of the Lord are riches, honor, and life. The fear of the Lord, especially in Proverbs and in Psalms as well, the benefits of the fear of the Lord would make you want it. And Psalm 34 tells you exactly how. Come, if you want to learn the fear of the Lord, I'll show you how. And many people I have prayed, God, show them hell. Hang them over hell.
Well, you had that prayer for me, and I
really?
Yeah, you did. And I was going through a real tough time, and I think that's what you prayed, and he did. And I had an infusion of the fear of the Lord.
Wow.
It was the scariest thing. I know Jennifer's had the same experience. And it freaked me out. I mean, it freaked me out because you realize at that point when you are in the crux of the fear of God, you know that none of your manipulations, none of your words, none of your cajoling or bargaining, nothing matters.
Nothing moves God.
Nothing moves God. And you realize that bar the grace and the mercy of God. See, it's interesting that we've gone so far into grace that we don't have the fear of God, because when you have the fear of God, then you realize that only the grace and mercy of God saves you, brings you through, brings you to a different place. And so, I literally was begging God, but realized that my words and my emotions and my
cries and need
and my personal relationship with him from that point had no sway on him.
And you know, John, I had that experience too. I wasn't in trouble. I was spirit-filled. I wasn't in a bad place. And suddenly I felt that I was being hung over hell. And I really understood that. I never knew why he let me have that, except to know that the experience is so valid. I knew that if he let go of me, I would drop into hell. And there was nothing I could do about it.
That is precisely
and
it.
It is a life-changing experience. So, okay, I want to start that we don't hear the Word of God in terms of the fear of God. We skim over it. One of the most important scriptures of the New Testament is Romans 1st chapter 18 through 21. And it says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. The wrath of God is revealed. We don't get it, that his wrath has come to us and it's to save us. You're not healthy unless you have a good, healthy, reverential fear of God. He is God.
I think that the reason why he gave you that experience is because you would, on the other side of having that experience, you have such respect and appreciation for the fear of God. Unless you experience the fear of God, I can say I have fear of God all day long. But usually what our fear of God is our concept that he's like our earthly parent or earthly,
true.
Authority.
We project another face.
It's another person's face. But this had nothing to do with anyone. There was no one else in the room but he and I. And I think that he gave you that experience because you have been able to pray that for a number of people, and it has borne so much fruit.
It has borne fruit.
So I think that it was a well planted investment into your life, because then you literally became a source that you could pray, and because you knew the validity of it and you knew the value of it.
Yes, you're putting it so well, John. That's right.
So that to me was absolutely phenomenal, and Jennifer has had a testimony that experienced it, that she just came face to face with it, and there's several people.
Yeah, I've had people come back and tell me.
And you know, when you experience it, you know that it is utter grace that you would have it.
Yes.
Because we could go our entire life, have no fear of God, and walk straight into hell. But God, in his mercy and his grace, kind of does a boo. You're like, literally, I had a quaking in my body for months after that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I did too. I was in shock.
Totally.
For days. All I could think about was that experience, and that I had no power to save myself.
None.
If he let go of me, that was it.
That was the experience I had.
And,
it's exactly, and I knew that very briefly that you had told me that in passing. It wasn't like you went into it, but when I experienced it and I told you about it, then you told me more about your experience, and I said, that's exactly it, and that is exactly precisely it. You realize that he could literally, and has the right.
Yes.
Not only has the right
and the power,
the right, and you deserve it. That he just drops you straight into hell.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I've said a lot at times about the fear of God and the benefits to us personally about it, but I ran across in the YouTube channel the testimony of a woman who went to hell, and I was quite impacted by it. Her name is Lori Ditto, and she gave a testimony on the show of Sid Roth, but it's on the YouTube channel, and her title is "I Found Myself in Hell. The Reason Why Will Surprise You." And I just watched it, and I thought, all of us need to hear this. We need desperately to know what hell is real and what it is like.
Well, you called a meeting and you said we all need to watch this, and I remember we all did. We all watched it.
We went to one house and we sat and watched it. And it was very sobering. And what she realized, and relates kind of to my book on forgiveness for me, she said she cried out to Jesus. She said, I can't bear to stay here. This is terrible. And she cried out to him. But she realized why she was there, because she was a born-again Christian. And she said, I didn't know born-again Christians could go to hell, but she had not forgiven. And so she was not forgiven. And that answered a question for me. This woman was a credible witness. She was not a flake. And I wondered, when the Lord showed me that if you don't forgive, you are not forgiven. If you don't forgive one situation and one person, your entire package of sin is back on you. It's very clear in the scriptures, absolutely clear. And this, she said, I had been forgiven so much from God, but I would not forgive. And it
wasn't multiples, wasn't it? One particular person.
She seemed it was singular. She had not forgiven, but she didn't say what.
Right. Well, a lot of us could say, "Oh, well, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive," but it's wiping the slate clean. Mm-hmm. It's going the distance with forgiveness. It's dealing with every situation with forgiveness. You have to face all of it. Where the Spirit has to bring you through it, but you have to forgive everything. And what you're saying is, and what she said is, that not forgiving one person can put you in hell. I mean, really, that's it.
Well, she described it, and it's pretty awful. So I wanted us to watch that. I wanted us to have corporately the fear of God.
We hope you've enjoyed the Shulamite podcast. For all the latest from Shulamite Ministries, please visit us at Shulamite.com, where you'll find Martha's daily devotions, posts from GetAlongWithGod.com, and the online library of all of Martha's writings. At Shulamite.com, downloading the free Shulamite app is easy, and LivingChristianBooks.com is only a click away. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover a God worth knowing.